We're back with Mr. Rob Johnson, Superintendent, Lawrence County Board of Education. I would love to know what kind of hobbies do you have?
Oh, my hobbies. My hobby is my grandson, to be honest with you.
Yes,
Everything else is taking a back seat to him. And I chip away a little bit at golf. I like to read, but I'm very much a family person. My hobbies are usually being with my family, and I know that may sound a little corny, but
no, I think it sounds wonderful.
I do play golf, and I love plants. I enjoy.
You're kidding me. You like plants.
I love plants. I love in rescuing plants and taking plants that have almost died and bringing them back to life. I kind of like that kind of thing. But to be honest with you, my family is very, very important to me.
Oh, yes. Now, where is your grandson? Where do they live?
He's in Winder, Georgia right now.
Oh, so...
Yes.
Just like me, mine are in Atlanta, and I'm seriously thinking about buying a helicopter.
Well, make sure it's a two-passenger helicopter,
so
I can go too.
We can go and visit our grandchildren.
That's a great idea.
Okay. So you like plants?
I love plants.
Yes.
Actually, I have a tree that I bought when I first became a principal 26 years ago, and it was just a little twig, and now it's a huge tree that I've actually kept with me.
Oh.
It's at home, and I couldn't bring it down this first trip down because I didn't have a truck, or I had a small trailer that was enclosed, but it wasn't big enough to bring my tree. So eventually you'll see a tree.
But you will bring your tree.
And that tree itself has had poems written about it. It has a story in itself, and you might want to make that another interview because it's a very special tree. There have been a number of kids who have been a part of that tree through their experiences in school.
I would love to hear about your tree.
It's basically, to kind of tease a little bit, it basically was a place to come and to cool down and to reflect and to talk about things, and it could be most anything, but it was sort of a healing tree, and it's been used now for 26 years.
And
it's very, very, very important to me, and it's one of those things where I take very special care of that tree. So I know that may sound a little off base, and I don't want it to sound too crazy, but if it helps kids, then that's what I'll be all about.
Yes, that is wonderful. Now, on that subject, out of all years that you were teaching and involved with children and school, what is a special moment, inspiring moment that you can think about?
One of the most important events in my early teaching career happened as I began teaching at Lanier High School in Montgomery.
Okay.
I was very much teaching what I was supposed to teach. I was teaching from the book and from the standards and following the directions. And I noticed that there was a gentleman around the hall that taught the same thing. And the kids seemed more relaxed. They would smile and laugh, and really he seemed to have things going. And me, I was struggling teaching my subject, and the kids grasping my subject, and we taught the same thing. So I asked him, I said, Mr. Thompson, may we speak during our planning periods? And he said yes. And I walked in with my notebook and I said, I'm a young teacher and I really need some help. I really need some help reaching the kids. Can you give me some strategies? Can you give me some ways that you use to make your class fun? Because your class seems to be fun. Mine seems boring to me, so I know it's boring to the kids. And he sat me down and I got my notebook out and he said, I'll tell you what you need to think about. And this is what he said. He said, Rob, remember this for as long as you're in education, that kids don't care what you know until they know that you care.
Oh, wow.
And I sat there a minute and I said, how is that going to help me teach them? He said, that's all I need to tell you. You don't need to write anything else down.
Wow.
He said, understand that you're teaching kids information and material, and you're teaching it to them. They don't know who you are. They don't know whether you truly care about them or you're teaching just the subject. He said, when you get that right, everything else will fall into place. That changed my career. It changed my life.
Very smart guy.
very, very smart fellow. He retired a few years later, since passed away 2 years ago, but was a mentor to me who helped me more than most people ever have. But that simple phrase in education, that kids don't care what you know until they know you care, made me the educator that I am today. And I'm not real sure I would have been as effective as I was without him making that simple comment.
It was meant to be that he was right there teaching the same subject.
I think it was.
It was meant to be.
I think it was some intervention there. I believe it was, because everybody struggles their first year finding out how to teach, what to teach, what are the rules and things you have to go by, and all of the duties that teachers have to do, because you do a lot more than just teach, of course.
Yes.
A lot more things that we do, and it was a significant turning point in my life, because I realized that I had kids I had to reach, and I couldn't reach them unless they knew that I cared about them individually. So during my career, I have gone through numbers of workshops and some research, and it's over and over again been proven to me that what George Thompson told me years ago was true. There was a young man named Andre who actually was in a writing study for these national researchers, and they wanted to know why he made A's in one class and he failed everything else. They said, write a paragraph why that is the case. Do you just like English? And he wrote, no, I don't like English at all, but I know that teacher cares about me. And it's that whole part of, and I can follow up with that at a later time, but it really sunk home to me that it really still works. It's still a part of a good teacher. Now, if you'll show me a good teacher, I'll show you somebody that cares deeply about the kids that they teach. Now, I will say, Pilar, one of the things I have noticed from the people I've met, and my administrators in this school system, and the teachers I've met, and the words that I hear from the community, is that that's the kind of people we have in Lawrence County Schools.
Yes.
And that has made me so excited. Those are the things I call and tell my mom about. Those are the conversations I have with my dad. How exciting that is for me to be a very small part of a group of people who truly do care about kids. And I've actually heard some people that aren't even involved in education, 3 people that have told me in the last couple of days how much our administrators and how much our teachers truly care about our kids.
Yes.
And I truly believe that this is the right place for me, because that, if you understand that, you understand me.
Very good. And through the years, what to you it has been the most successful lesson you have ever taught?
There have been a lot of lessons that have had a big impact, I believe, during my career. But there was one particular one when I taught economics, and the subject was very dry. It was discussing the qualities of money, being portable, being able to carry it around. Is it durable?
And this is the children.
The children now trying to learn. You can't have ice as money because it melts and goes away. It has to be something that will be there for a long time. Those kind of things that can be quite boring. So what I did is it was during the Carter administration, and I brought in some peanuts, and I brought in $50 $1 bills, and I broke the law, and I tore a couple of dollar bills and threw them in the trash. And I said, guys, our money has been devaluated, and we're going to have to go to commodity money, which is an economics term. And it actually, peanuts now is our temporary currency. And the lesson went so well. I know it sounds crazy. It went so well. The kids were going to lunch and saying, you can't spend $1 there anymore. We have peanuts. And I had given them some peanuts as commodity money. Probably one of the things I realized, the impact you can have on a child, because I was doing that as a way to help them remember the qualities of money. And that was my objective.
I can bet my life that they still remember.
They do remember it, and they still walk away thinking about the day I tore up some dollar bills and they had peanuts walking around. The principal actually came to me and said, what are you doing with these peanuts? There are kids that have peanuts walking around the school with peanuts. I had to tell him that. So I realized from that moment that teachers have a big impact.
Yeah.
And they can have a big impact on what kids think. And what I thought after that, I said, I have to be very careful and make sure I don't express any personal viewpoints.
Right.
Because if kids believe in me that much, then I have a lot of power
Impact.
that I may not want. So it taught me a lot about teaching.
Yes.
And it brought home the whole idea that you make sure you say the right things.
Yes.
And it helped me a lot in the future.
So how do you encourage a child to learn?
Well, one of the things that I am certain of in education, that every child wants to be successful.
Yes.
They may tell you they may not. They may have given up and don't think they can do it. They may have outside forces that encourage them not to do well. But every student wants to be successful. But the key is they have to have somebody that believes in them.
Right.
And the word "I believe in you" is very powerful. I will give you an example. When I left Winder, I have a note I'd love for you to read with a young girl whose parents were separated. She was taken away from her mom, and she was living with her grandmother. And she really resented that. She rebelled. She didn't want to do her schoolwork. She was always in little minor things, talking too much and being in trouble. And I always left her every day with a message of belief that you can do this, you can get through this, and I believe in you. And she wrote me a note when I left. And she said, "Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for believing me. I promise I'll never disappoint you."
Oh.
And I told her that I will be at your graduation. If there's any way possible, if I don't have a graduation here, I'll be at your graduation. And she mentioned that I really hope that you come to my graduation. That power in believing in people can help pull them through. But I can't change her life. I can't change the family situation, nor would I want to.
I disagree. You can change her life. You did.
I can in school.
Right.
And that's what I mean. But I hope that I gave her hope. And I hope that I left her with the feeling she can do it.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter who she lives with. And it doesn't matter if mom is doing this or dad's doing that, if they're not doing the right things. I hope I left her with the belief that she can be anything that she wants to be.
Sure.
So I really believe the way to reach people is to believe them and trust them. Kids want to be trusted, they want to be believed in, and they want people to have confidence in them. No one wants to have everybody talk down to them and tell them how bad they are and things like that. And before long, they'll believe it and they won't perform.
Yeah.
But I believe that every life has a purpose.
Yes.
And that eventually every child will succeed. And it's a big part of our job as educators to help instill that belief in them. And it's a huge part of what we teach every day. Because if they don't believe they can do that math, then they probably won't.
And then
they don't believe they can read real well, they probably won't. But if we can instill belief and hope in every child, a lot of other things will take care of themselves. There are a lot of things that have had a huge impact on my life. Well, I will tell you this. Generally, people have the biggest impact.
Yes.
People and the things they do have the biggest impact to me. I've gone into classrooms and watched teachers teach, and I'm totally amazed at how they communicate and how they wrap their arms around the kids in a way and truly make education work. And those people, there are many of those people that have a big impact on me and have helped shape how I think about school and what I think school should be.